Welcome to News Review. Gibraltar will face the footballing might of Germany when qualifying for the 2016 European Championships gets underway in September. The tournament will take place in France and 53 nations found out in Nice, who their opponents will be as they strive to be among the final 24.
Another milestone for football in Gibraltar. After being admitted as full members of UEFA last year, it was time to join the big boys for the first time in the draw for a major competition. A GFA contingent, including the CEO, the president and the manager, were in Nice to see it at first hand. Everyone else, including the chief minister, had to make do watching it on TV like the rest of us, not that this lot seemed to mind. UEFA General Secretary Gianni Infantino explained that Gibraltar could not be drawn in the same group as Spain, who went into Group C. After Kazakhstan and Andorra had been assigned to Groups A and B respectively, it was time to find out which of the ranked outsiders would have to face the current world and European champions. No prizes for guessing what happened next.
The 13 drawn. Gibraltar. Gibraltar will go in Group D and not in Group C for those who are already laughing. Gibraltar will join Germany in the first participation for Gibraltar. Thank you, Thomas, for this nice draw.
What would have been the odds of that? First ever draw and that happening. Look, we've always said it from day one. We play whoever we have to play. And obviously at this point in time we can't, but I'm sure that in the future, give it 10 to 15 years, I'm sure we will be able to play them. An example is Russia and Georgia. This time, for the first time, they want to play together. So I'm sure give it time and we'll be able to play them.
To see us drawn in Group 3, which was the group which featured Spain, and to see us have to move to the fourth group, I think is fantastic because it will help that the whole of Europe now be explained to why it is that Spain doesn't want to play Gibraltar. And I think that's going to be a feature of newspaper reports and TV reports in the next couple of days. And for us, of course, it's a pity because Gibraltar doesn't mix politics and sport, and it would have been a beautiful game of the beautiful game if we'd had a chance to play them.
So Gibraltar was moved to Group D, together with Germany, the Republic of Ireland, Poland, Scotland and Georgia. Funny that politics prevented a Gibraltar-Spain matchup, whereas given recent history, no one turned a hair over the pairing of Germans and Poles in the same group. For many in the Gibraltar camp, the matches against Germany are the highlights. Gibraltar must now prepare for a grueling 10-match campaign, sometimes playing home and away in the space of just 4 days. It all starts on Sunday the 7th of September against Poland in the Algarve Stadium in Portugal, where Gibraltar will play its home fixtures.
Totally. You've seen the teams that we've pulled out. We've got to organise a game against Germany and Faro, Poland as well. It's like you say, a lot of hard work starts now, but it's now that we know the realisation of who we've got, it's great to look forward to.
24 teams will qualify for the finals in 2016, more than ever before, and qualification is therefore easier. The first 2 from each group go through automatically, and those in third place are assured a playoff at least. The manager, Alan Buller, has been quoted as saying that finishing third is the ambitious target. But the captain has a more pragmatic view.
The small nations very rarely get points or even score goals actually in the group stages, so I think we need to move very slowly, take games by game and see if we can build from it. We're not used to this standard of football. We've got to prepare very well for it. I'm just hoping we get some respectable results, maybe if we can get a goal, maybe a draw, but like I said, we've got to be realistic.
Whatever happens, football in Gibraltar is in for a very exciting time indeed.
Plans for an 8,000-capacity stadium have been unveiled by the Gibraltar Football Association. It's been designed by Madrid-based architects Fenwick Iribarren, who designed the grounds of Spanish First Division clubs Valencia and Espanyol. The plans are in public view at the Gustavo Bacarisas Gallery in Casemates and will go before the Development and Planning Commission in April.
As designed, the Europa Point Gibraltar National Stadium would cost between £18.5 and £40 million. And its amenities would include VIP boxes, a panoramic restaurant, shops, bars and cafes. It would be a Category 4 stadium, which means it would meet UEFA's minimum standards for international football. The stadium would be owned and managed by the GFA.
It's a GFA project. The government will contribute the land for the benefit of sport, but it's the GFA that's going to develop the stadium, and it's the GFA that will have the final say as to what the standards of the building of the stadium, etc., will be to the UEFA criteria.
Before any of that can happen, though, the project must be approved by the Development and Planning Commission, which will consider the application on the 8th of April. Fabian Picardo quipped that the stadium looked like the Millennium Falcon had landed at Europa Point, before adding that as a Star Wars fan, that was a very good thing. Reaction on social networks has been mixed, with some people glad the area will be more fully utilized, but others considering it an eyesore and an unsuitable location. The GFA says it considered alternative sites, but none were considered feasible. In fact, the aim is for it to be ready by September 2016. One thing that hasn't been decided yet is the playing surface, even though the publicity material says it will be made of grass. The severe weather conditions in the area and the corrosive effects of the sea air have been taken into account, as has access on match days. The GFA says the stadium would be used primarily for football, but would also be a community facility and host events including concerts, conferences and private functions. It adds that it would ensure ticket prices for national games are kept at realistic and affordable levels. The association is already turning its mind to the future and who will be Gibraltar's first opponents.
Somebody reminded me now that we got to start thinking who to invite for our inaugural match, and although it seems far away, the completion of the stadium, we're going to have to give that some thought because teams are booked up. Who will be the first match against? I don't know at this stage, but it will be a high-profile national team that will come to inaugurate the stadium.
Well, there's no one in the game right now with a higher profile than our neighbours to the north. But somehow I just can't see Spain agreeing to help inaugurate the Gibraltar National Stadium. Can you?
The Chief Minister will give oral evidence before the Foreign Affairs Committee of the House of Commons next week here in Gibraltar. The session will take place on Wednesday the 5th of March at the Garrison Library, starting at 9:30 in the morning, and will be open to the public. The sitting forms part of the committee's research on the overseas territories and follows evidence given last December by the Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State at the Foreign Office, Mark Simmons. Ms Ricardo will be asked about the overall state of UK-Gibraltar relations, Gibraltar's relationship with the European Union, and the maritime and borders dispute between Gibraltar and Spain. The session will be televised live on GBC as from 9:30 in the morning. The government has announced that the Gibraltar International Bank will be located at 310 Main Street in the Old Quay and Anchor complex. It's opposite Incest Hall and will be known as Incest House. This is a government-owned building that will be leased to the bank on commercial arm's-length terms. The government notes that this is an important heritage site and says this will be respected in the works and refurbishment of the property. It says it consulted with members of the professional steering group and considered several properties before deciding on its preferred option. Meanwhile, the opposition has lamented the government's decision. It says this area should have been enhanced and developed exclusively for cultural purposes, as it would have done if it had won the last general election. Stephen Nish put it to GST culture spokesman Edwin Reyes that the location in the city centre would be convenient for customers.
It depends what customer you're talking to. If you're talking to the culture lovers customer, then it is not the ideal site to lose from a cultural point of view. Yes, look, there's a new nickname. This is now called the Theatre District of Gibraltar. We've got John McIntosh Hall, we've got Incest Hall, Garman's new proposed Queen Cinema as the Gibraltar National Theatre area. So this is a much needed place, isn't it, for cultural activities. Long established drama association premises. There was an article in the Chronicle by Alice Mascarenhas saying, you know, how in her own group, in her own theatrical contributions, how they had rehearsal space and storage space there. And all that's been lost for the bank, which is another argument, you know, but the bank is needed. And from what I gather, there was consultation with those within the banking professionals as to locations. Why this one has been chosen above others has not come out clean, has it?
No, possibly not. But I mean, from the government's point of view, of course, you refer to the manifesto in which they say that they would have refurbished Incest Hall. That, of course, perhaps now superseded, as you say, by the new theatre that they're going to build at the old Queen's Cinema site. But there's no undertaking in the GSOP Liberals manifesto to do anything with this building. So really, I don't know what your objection to that exactly is.
The undertaking was that they would restore the Incest Hall complex without saying what it was for. But they said they would even cover the patio area so it could be used in winter. And when that is published under a section of culture, then common sense tells you that it was going to be for cultural-related activities, not for banking. Otherwise, it would have come out in the finance section, wouldn't it?
A project to redevelop Rajab Bay with a larger beach, seafront restaurant, indoor aquapark and boat berth has been given outline planning permission. The £4 million project, which will allow free public access to the beach, was chosen out of 18 proposals received by government and will require an environmental impact assessment.
Suggestions for the development of Rajab Bay have come and gone over the years, but the site remains in disrepair, suffering storm damage, although still very much a hotspot for divers and anglers. Last year, the government invited expressions of interest from developers and received 18 replies. The submission from Europa Point Marine Village Limited is the government's preferred choice. It offers repairs of existing structures, the installation of wave attenuators to protect the beach from tides, and the extension of the beachfront for public use. A glass building will house a year-round indoor aquapark, and a beach bar with wooden decking will be sited on the beach itself. The developers have committed themselves to respecting and enhancing the heritage and environment features of the area, and keeping access to the beach free for the public. A boat berth will allow access to private as well as public vessels, and a dive shop will also be housed within the main building.
Indoor water park building will be operating 365 days a year, possibly not Christmas, and the beach bar will operate during all summer, spring and autumn times. There's going to be a boat operating from the quayside to take passengers for dolphins and whale watching, and there'll be a little haul and launch facility for dive boats, but dive boats and the other boats using the bay won't be able to clean their boats in the marine.
Well, obviously there are a lot of studies that have to be carried out, not least of all the hydrographic survey, which is an environmental impact assessment, which will obviously give us more information as to the specific design. One of the most important parts is that we have to obviously build these wave attenuators to stop the beach being washed away and the restaurant being washed away in the winter. So
the project enjoys the support of the GONHS and the government, who believe it's in the interests of the developers to enhance the biodiversity of the cove, as it will attract divers.
The historic walls are not going to be interfered with in any way. In fact, they'll be visually enhanced because there's going to be a timber decking around the lower part of the walls, touching the beach, so that visitors to the bay can see the walls.
Our initial studies, obviously we've done some financial studies and some business plans. Initially we're looking to invest between £3 to £4 million, but once the studies are finalised, obviously this could throw up areas where we need to invest certain more funds, etc. But it'll all depend on the studies, but we're fairly confident that it will be around about the £3 to £4 million mark.
One objection was raised by Levi Diaz, a resident of the area, who said the development of the site should be more sensitive to its beauty and charm, and it shouldn't be converted into a Disneyland theme park. The plan was approved by the DPC, but will require an environmental impact assessment as well as an oceanographic survey before it can proceed in the planning process.
And we'll be back with more of this week's news after the break.